Welcome back. September 11th marked 20 years since the terror attacks on the World Trade Center towers. Bronxnet remembers the very tragic events of September 11th, 2001, through the stories and experiences of residents of the Bronx. We will never forget.
It marks 20 years since the September 11th terror attacks that left our city and country devastated.
A beautiful day, a cloudless day, and on the FDR Drive, I was rerouted. And of course, we didn't know why.
As many years go by, it's like it happened yesterday, you know?
The street was littered with shoes, all these sneakers. And I didn't really understand why all these sneakers were on the floor, and then you came to realize, well, these were the shoes that the people in the towers were wearing, and they were blown off.
I was on Fifth Avenue to watch Tower 2 actually fall from the sky.
As the world memorializes 9/11 on its 20th anniversary, people gather in the Bronx around a monument to commemorate the lives lost on the tragic day. Although the day came with rain, it did not stop people gathering to remember their loved ones. Joe Kelleher, chairman of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, says he remembers that day like it was yesterday.
I was 2 blocks from the World Trade Center when the whole incident occurred. Just witnessing it was something I'll never forget. We're here today because we want to keep the memory alive. We have that piece of steel here, which is sacred to us. And we'll always have a memorial service in memory of all those men and women who lost their lives.
The monument at Hutch Metro Center shows an eagle clutching a piece of steel. That piece of steel is the remnants of one of the towers that came crashing down that fateful day, something NYPD Captain Isaac Soberall remembers all too well.
20 years ago, and I was a kid then, I was 18 years old, and if we don't sit and tell the stories and relive those memories, they fade away like anything else, and then you have new memories replace them.
Captain Soberall was in the Army at the time, but he remembers how the community rallied around each other the day after the attack on our nation.
I'm sure that any New Yorker from that time remembers everybody had an American flag on their car. You had groups of people in front of their apartment buildings holding American flags, chanting USA.
Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez was only in the 8th grade at the time, but she says commemorating events like this are important to keep the memory alive, especially for those who were not born yet or were too young to remember.
Talk about our lost ones. When we lose a loved one, we do mourn, but we also want to celebrate their lives. Now we have a whole generation that has not lived the 9/11 attacks. So we have to keep those that we've lost alive by sharing their life stories.
And as the years go on, the resonating message here today is to keep the memories of the people we lost alive. Reporting for Bronxnet, Durissa White.
With just a step at a time, one man honors his former flight crew members for the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
I'm just making sure that they get recognized for their heroics so that their family members hear that we recognize what those crew members did, and their loved ones, they did what they could under those conditions.
The neighborhood of Little Italy in the Bronx welcomes retired United Airlines flight attendant Paul Veneto, also known as Paulie, in support of his mission to honor fallen crew members from the 9/11 attacks.
So we came to welcome Paulie Veneto to the Bronx and to New York City, to Little Italy. He took off pushing his beverage cart on August 21st from Logan Airport, and he's pushing it to Ground Zero.
The 220-mile tribute is a long time coming for the former flight attendant, who says he wanted to begin this journey just a few years after 9/11. However, the tragedy got in the way, leading him into very dark times, eventually struggling with addiction up until 2015.
After 9/11, I fell into an opiate addiction to numb myself out. When that obsession was lifted, I knew that I needed to recognize these guys.
Now, nearly 6 years sober, Paulie's push is in full swing, and the initiative is met with love and support from many across the East Coast.
The love and support is real, and this is what touches Paulie. And the first time it happened, he called me up, he said, "Kel, now I know why I'm doing this, because it touches everybody in some way."
Pauly will not only push through for those who were lost on 9/11, his journey will also support Power Forward's Sober Living Scholarship Program in Tuesday's Children, an organization aimed to support the families affected by 9/11.
Along the way, raising funds for Tuesday's Children to support the families of the flight crews that were lost on 9/11. So we're here just to thank him.
And he thinks, hey, I'm just the guy pushing the cart, but he's so much more than that. Such an inspiration, and he's such a story of hope and redemption for those seeking recovery as well.
He's come a long way, but his journey doesn't stop here. With a few more miles to go, Benito says his ultimate goal is to reach ground zero by 9/11. Reporting for Bronxnet, Kevin Aline.
On September 11, 2001, Al-Qaeda carried out the deadliest terror attacks on America in the nation's history, killing nearly 3,000 people and injuring thousands more. It was a day that New Yorkers, Americans, and the world would never forget.
I was on the phone with him when the plane hit. When the plane hit, we were speaking at that moment, and he was telling me that they were telling him to hold back, that he was taking care of the people and they were coming for him. And as we were speaking, I looked up and I saw the plane hit and phone went dead. And that apparently was it.
Today, as the 20th anniversary of the attacks approaches, the memories are still very vivid for many Bronxites.
When I got at the train station, like the 9/11 was already taking place. One building was already on fire. So once I got to the office, they evacuated us, and me and my coworker basically walked down to like Canal Street and literally seen like it fall.
When you got home, the TVs and things wasn't working properly. So you had to wait till the afternoon, everything come back on. And you saw what you saw, people's running, all the dust, some people falling out the buildings. And it was just terrible. Something you'll never forget.
I was in high school at that time. I had to walk home, actually, from 14th Street. I had to walk home. Yeah, it was smoke everywhere. It was like the whole Midtown was flooded with smoke. It was horrible, the worst experience.
I was in elementary school, so all I remember was my mom just racing, coming to pick me up because there was just a crowd of just families, parents just picking up their kids that day.
I was in 7th grade and we were just sitting in the classroom, and then it just went silent for a few hours. They didn't tell us anything. We were just sitting there, and then eventually they did tell us at the end of the day what had happened.
We lost 343 firefighters on 9/11. The anniversary is a day where we remember how brave all first responders were.
Guys, in the aftermath, where did you find consolation?
I was going to say consolation with our families and really our fellow firefighters. You know, that understand we're all in the same boat. We understand, what has occurred, and we've all gone through the same emotions and experience, in the last month. And I was saying earlier today that it's difficult to relate right now to people on the outside of the job. They don't really realize what has occurred.
My first day of vacation, so you'll see me walking the kids to school every day. I walk back to my house. My wife is on the phone with her mom. TV's on in the bedroom. I walked into the bedroom. I saw the tower on fire, and I said, "Well, that's not a little plane. That's something big that hit that." And I walked to where she was standing, and I said, "Look, I'm leaving. I'm not sure when I'm coming back. We just lost a whole bunch of firefighters, and I don't know when I'm coming home."
And for many, it doesn't feel like 20 years have passed.
It feels like yesterday, too. I realize it's 20 years But I do believe, myself personally, I would never forget what happened. It was a very, very sad day.
It don't feel like it. When you think about something like yesterday, you know, it was so terrible. Now they build it over, and it's nice, but people still gonna remember, okay? They're not gonna forget this. No, they're not gonna forget this. I don't blame them.
It brought us all together, you know what I mean? We had to, devote, be neighbors to each other, like build each other up.
We have to tell that generation, because that's part of who we are, I think, collectively as the United States society. We're all good people.
That's all for our show today. I'm Ashley Tiffaney, filling in for Sanji Lopez, wishing you and yours safety and wellness. Now and always, God bless. See you next time.